we're going to sit with you and we're going to wrap you around the best experts we have.
Cash Pro will help Black business owners get access to more payroll resources.
Anybody that needs to get more funds to amplify their business, ACBNs, we do grant writing sessions.
The support, it's tremendous.
I have a lot to learn, and I feel as though I'm in good hands.
I'm really looking forward to all that we're going to be able to accomplish together.
Please check out bbpa.org/BADES.
Land Acknowledgement. As we gather together, we acknowledge the sacred land on which we reside. It has been a site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, this gathering place is still the home of many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations. Last but certainly not least, we acknowledge the people of African descent who were brought here against their own will or in search of a safe place to live their lives and raise their children. Reconnaissance des terres. En nous rassemblant, nous reconnaissons la terre sacrée sur laquelle nous résidons. C'est un site d'activité humaine depuis 15 000 ans. Cette terre est le territoire des Premières Nations Huron-Wendat et Petun, les Scéniques et plus récemment les Mississaugas de la rivière Crédit. Le territoire était sujet de l'alliance de la ceinture Wampum plat avec cuillère, un accord entre la Confédération Iroquois et Confédération des Ojibwe et des nations à partager et à prendre soin pacifiquement pour les ressources autour des Grands Lacs. Aujourd'hui, ce lieu de rassemblement est toujours le foyer de nombreux peuples autochtones de toute l'île de la Tortue et nous sommes reconnaissants d'avoir la possibilité de travailler dans la communauté sur ce territoire. Nous sommes également conscients des alliances brisées et de la nécessité de nous efforcer de guérir toutes nos relations. Dernier point, mais non le moindre, nous remercions les personnes d'ascendance africaine qui ont été amenées ici contre leur volonté ou à la recherche d'un endroit sûr où vivre leur vie et élever leurs enfants.
Hello, and thank you for joining BADES, which stands for Business Advisory Implementation Development Services. We are excited to have you all here today. Our program is aimed at training and expanding the capabilities of Black entrepreneurs. And today, you are definitely in for a treat. We have two speakers who are going to talk to us about how to start your business and ensure strong growth. One of our speakers today, her name is Shauna K Jones. Shauna is a technology founder who works with companies and solopreneurs to understand their business goals and provide the technical solutions that they need in order to survive as a business. After starting a technology startup called Modify, which is geared toward individuals on the autism spectrum, and also working as a solution implementation manager for Point Click Care, Shauna realized that technology and business must work hand in hand for long-lasting and impactful changes. Shauna, she's an award winner. We actually have two award winners today. She has received awards such as the Ontario Premier Awards publication. She's also been published in the Toronto Star and CTV News. She's also one of the Brampton's Top 40 Under 40. Amazing. Lastly, she runs Black Girls Who Code. We definitely have a powerhouse in Shauna today. She's a graduate also from the University of Waterloo and Sheridan College, where she graduated in business and law. She was also valedictorian. Our first speaker today is going to be Beth Cowie. Cowie, another powerhouse. She's also been named 2018 Brantham's Top 40 Under 40. Beth Cowie is a serial social entrepreneur, professional speaker, traveler, humanitarian, and University of Guelph graduate. Now, she has experience in leadership, team building, customer service, entrepreneurship. Her roles have just spanned all over the spectrum for profit and nonprofit sectors. She's also the founder of Empowered 4X. I'm sure she'll tell us a little bit about that today. Chris Cowie works as a support of entrepreneurs, helping them start and scale their business. I'm excited to hear from both of them today, and now I'm going to pass it over to you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. I definitely will have you do all my intros. That's awesome. And I see my colleague Shawna is here as well. So thank you to everyone that's here with us today. We're just gonna dive right into our presentation. I'm just going to pull that up. My screen. You can see my screen okay? Yes, awesome. Let's share, sorry. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. As mentioned, my name is Beth Cowie. I am the founder of Empowered 4X, which is a business development center physically located in Brampton. We support entrepreneurs going from ideation to commercialization, looking at supporting them with the right business structures, and quite fitting today, our topic is starting right and growing strong, and that's what we exist to do. And I have the privilege of, as well, of sharing this platform with one of my dearest friends, Shauna K Jones, and I'll let her do a quick intro before we dive in.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm excited to be here on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Yeah, I work with Beth. We've collaborated. We recognized we needed to build the world of business and technology. How do we merge it into one to really support businesses from ideation all the way to making money throughout? And, you know, we just happen to have been friends from the beginning and working together all the way through. So it's very exciting for us to be able to be here today, share a little bit about what we do, who we are. So I am the founder of a company called Modify Apps, where we really are focused on helping entrepreneurs from websites, apps, anything they need to really support their technology growth and development in this world. And we work hand in hand with Beth to make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so this is just a little bit more about ourselves. As Shauna's mentioned, one of the things that's unique about working with our team at Empowered 4X and at Modify is that we really look at a holistic approach of building business. People sometimes go to Shauna and say, I need this technology for my business to do X, and really coming back to the core fundamentals, which we'll get into today, but really understand who's this business for, what is the problem that you're solving, and then looking at how technology can be used as a tool to support the work that you're doing. So in my years of experience, I've been working with, to this point, over 250 entrepreneurs from ideation to commercialization, and really now looking at how we can infuse and support the infusion of technology into businesses in a systematic way that it enables scale. So many S's. But one of the things that I will say is that, as I mentioned earlier, we don't just jump to technology, right? We truly understand the entire business process and really look at how it can support. So this is a little bit about myself, and Shauna, I don't know if you want to add anything else about yourself.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, we're just pretty much, there's me, I think Beth, I think you both did such a great introduction. I'm like, I did all that stuff. That's really good. For me, yeah, it's just the love of business and technology. I really work with large technical issues, and all the things I've learned by running programs where, you know, we're having millions of dollars on the line and what it means. You recognize how similar it is when you're starting with a very small company versus a large one. So figuring out how I can use those learnings, those tools, those technologies, and figuring out how we can really figure out to save money, save time, improve processes for businesses at the very beginning all the way through.
Awesome. And so just to give you a little overview of where we're going today, as you can tell already, it's a parallel, holistic type of conversation that we're going to have today, talking about your business model and looking at technology as well. Really starting with the design thinking process. It is a process that we love here at E4X and at Modify in terms of going from problem to solution. We're going to explore growing strong with a tested business model. Many people go right ahead and invest thousands of dollars. I have clients who come to me after they spend, over 40,000, mortgage their house, build that application, and nobody even wants to use it for free. So really looking at the business model that you are developing, that it is sustainable, it has been tested, and it can take you to the next level. And, we're in the front of a lot of entrepreneurs here today, and really the fundamentals is around your leadership, guiding your team and growing. So Shawna, I'll let you talk a little bit about the technology section.
Yeah, Beth said it all. People come and, I quote them my price, and they go through all this work. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that what we are providing them is something that people will want, use, need, and understanding the importance of technology and what it is for. I think sometimes we think of, I just need a website. I just need an app. But the reason, why is it important? How do I infuse technology to make my processes easier? How, as a owner of a company, I'm not having to do every single thing because I can use technology to support that build. If I'm growing or expanding my company, how do I ensure that what they're doing meets my strategic goals? So really thinking about technology, not only as the thing that people tell us we need, but as a thing that will drive your growth and development is really what I'm going to talk about today.
Okay, awesome. So diving right into the business model section. My question to everyone, you're going to have an opportunity. I'm hoping that this will be very interactive. I cannot quite see the chat, but my question to you is, what problem are you solving? So if you can, type in the chat the problem you're solving. Sometimes when we use this word problem, people freak out and they're like, I don't solve a problem. So what need or desire are you filling or bringing to the marketplace as well? As folks are putting into the chat the problem they are solving for their customers, here on the screen, you can see the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I like to encourage people to really engage and learn about the UN Sustainability Development Goals and see how your business aligns with the various global issues or global problems. So these are the 17 problems on a global level that, the world is saying, hey, we need to do something in these realms to make positive change and impact. And the invitation is, does one of these or a couple of these align with your business? The reason why I talk about identifying a problem that is, it could be micro, but also has macro impact as well, is really a chance for you to think about your business. Is it going to scale? Is it a problem that a lot of people have that you are now coming to the forefront with solutions? So I see some problems coming in to the chat. Knowledge gap for micro entrepreneurs, financial safety, awesome, waste, overwhelm, inconsistency, and underemployment, awesome. So those are some really good problems that are coming in, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. One of the things I like to tell entrepreneurs today, what we realize, a lot of funding that is going towards, that have gone traditionally to nonprofit organizations, we are seeing social financing being a part of the conversation now. And that means you as a for-profit business have the opportunity of being aligned with trying to change a social problem, a problem that, the word or terminology that you oftentimes hear is social enterprise. And how I define it is really looking at a business that affects the triple P's. So the triple bottom line, as they talk about it, the people, the planet, and the profit. So you're running a business, great. We know that there's sustainability built into that. But the invitation when we look at the problem from this lens is to say, I can do more with my business. I can do good with my business. And so I can affect people positively or the planet. The next slide is around who is your customer, who has the problem. So if you want to just put that in the chat as well, the invitation is, I would love to see the chat going. Wow, we have about 37 people on the call. So folks, I hope we have your undivided attention as we're going through this. But if you want to take a moment, think about it. You probably already know who has that problem, right? And when we talk about this, oftentimes we hear people saying, my customer is everybody. Hello. There's over 7 billion people on the planet. Are you really saying you have the budget to reach all of them? And the chances are probably not, okay? And so the invitation that we give is, yes, you may have this global vision, and people, I got one, we've got one. Shawna and I talk all day long about where we're going, okay? But what we realize that we need a starting point, and that is the invitation that we give to our customers when we're starting to work with them. You must be grounded in a particular place. People think about Amazon and they're like, Amazon, I want to be, global, doing all of these things. Amazon doesn't even reach everyone today, so consider that, okay? That's one. But where Amazon started was with a bookstore. They sold used textbooks, right? That's where they started. Look where they are now. And so the invitation, can you get really specific about where they're located? Who has the problem? And you're looking at gender, age, all of the things comprised under the demographic section. Looking at the psychographics, so their lifestyle, personalities, and behavioral stuff. Where are they putting their money, right? And yes, you may ask people, oh, do you have that problem? They say yes. Are you willing to pay for it? No. And so clearly, if you're looking to build a business in a space or an industry that people aren't willing to pay for, you don't have a business. So the invitation again is really getting clear about your problem. And then the second piece is getting clear about who has it. And so this is where I now invite everyone to put it all together, right? You get an opportunity to introduce yourself. Who's in the room? We want to know who's in the room. If you put your name, your company, social media handles, emails, and a description, so the value proposition. So what we just basically kind of talked about, the problem, the who has it, and then you get to say what your solution is. I oftentimes use the Steve Blank value proposition. He talks about the XYZ formula. So you can see an example on the screen here with E4X and Modify, really talking about helping service-based entrepreneurs infuse technology to grow and scale their business through business training and consulting. And that's what we do to support our entrepreneurs. So my invitation, I'm going to leave this slide up for a quick second. If you want to put your name in the chat, your company, social media handle, email, and tell us what your value proposition statement is, that will be super powerful. So I'll give it about a minute. Shawna, you could sing, right? So you could sing for this minute?
Sing, yeah. But you know what? I don't sing for free. So they'll have to come to my concert next year. I'll be opening for Beyonce. So we'll just
I'm willing to pay to hear that.
Oh, no. All right, I tell you what, I'll send you the PayPal first, and then after that clears, then I'll sing.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so we have about 30 more seconds, folks. We'd love to know who's in the room, who we're seeing. As we get into the Q&A, it really gives us a chance to try to serve and answer your questions accordingly as well. So thank you for your participation. Okay, so it is 1 minute. Shawna, we'll keep going. So one of the things, so what we're going to do right now is talk about some tools to really help you all think about, starting if you are in this room, if you're starting a business, if you've already started a business, and really thinking about, okay, I want to, with COVID, many of us have had to pivot, some of us iterated. So pivot, when we talk about pivot, it's a massive shift in your business model. When we talk about iteration, we take the nuggets that works and make some minor tweaks to it, okay? So just for context there, but a tool, regardless if you're starting or if you're operating, you're bringing, value to the marketplace. We encourage you to consider using the design thinking tool and process. First, starting out with empathy. Who has that, who has a problem? And letting them define the problem for you, understanding it from their lens, the way that they engage in the world, really setting the foundation for the solution. Yes, you might have that solution in mind. They don't have it. You're the entrepreneur, the visionary, but really saying, as I'm bringing my vision to the world, it is tailored to the people that need it most. And they've been part of the story in terms of the creation. So once you truly understand the problem, you get to define that. So moving along the journey of, okay, now we have a problem statement. That means we need to come together and start brainstorming ways in which we bring the solution to the marketplace. So that's where the ideation comes in, right? So we start brainstorming lots of ideas, and then we need to narrow the focus. What are some of the common themes that we've heard from the customers and the people affected as we're trying to come to a solution? Developing a prototype. And this is so key. Folks, I talked about one of the clients I worked with earlier, and no word of a lie, over $40,000 spent on developing a digital tool. And what I realized is that they came to us a little too late. They came to us after they've spent that money doing no market research. And the invitation to each and every one of you, if you're considering bringing a new product into your product or service into your business, prototype it, get a couple people together, get some feedback. Is this, put the minimal viable product or minimal viable solution together that you then put out into the market to test for feedback. It is so important before you go and spend the thousands of dollars, which is great and which may be needed as you take your business to the next level. This helps put a safeguard in terms of helping you manage your funds as well. So the design thinking process is a tool to help you start your business right and strong. Another tool that I wanted to share with you all, I actually made my own version. You might be familiar with the business model canvas. I believe his name is Ash Osterwalder, and he has a canvas with 9 blocks. And I also like the lean business model canvas, and they have about 9 blocks as well. So I kind of combined it to create 12 boxes, right? And so where I feel like the combination works well, this canvas talks about key metrics. One of the main areas that sometimes when we're building, we don't realize why it's the why. It keeps the why as part of it. Why is this thing that we're tracking so important, right? Like, what is the outcome that we're looking for? So I really love this business model canvas. I'm a little biased, but it's all good. You can take it and use it as well. But really, if you look at these 12 boxes, if you have an idea or if you're currently running a business, all these amazing ideas come to us. This tool helps us to really think about our business holistically from a bird's eye view. You see, okay, you have the problem, you have your value proposition, you have your customer segment, you have this section of this half I like to call the front half, really looking at the customer, the relationship, the channels, the way that you're going to communicate with them, and the potential revenues that you can bring in from your business. This section of the canvas, talking about key partners, activities, key metrics, resources, and costs, that's typically on the back end of your business. So I really love this tool because you now get to say, okay, I understand that I need these key suppliers, key partnerships in order to make my business run. It gives you a way to think, from an aerial view, as I said, but really looking at how you can do so in a way that you take these components and then you plug it into your business plan. We're not going to talk about the business plan in full today, but that's where you need to move towards, right? Having a guidebook, that's what it is. It's not just to write 40 pages or less to say, I have a business plan collecting dust. That's where you're getting activated. That's where you're testing what works and what doesn't work. And so to end off my section, really talking about the 5 Ds of leadership, it is you guys. You all are the boss, the CEO, the founders, however you define yourself. But what truly matters is that at the end of the day, I like this, how I've looked at it, you have 5 key responsibilities. You have to decide the direction, the vision, the values of the organization. And once you have that, really giving you a chance as well, mapping those onto a tool, into your planning and your dashboards, all of these things, but it needs to be focused and in front of you, okay? It has to be in the focus. And so deciding on where you're going, deciding the vision, who you want to serve, what problem are we going after? All of those things. Then you as the leader, you have to do some stuff. You oftentimes when we start off, Michael Gerber in his book, The E-Myth, talks about, we are the visionary, we're the manager, and we're the technician. We get to do it all. And trust me, I've been there, very overwhelming, okay? And so as we begin to grow and scale, it's now about delegating. Can I pass off that responsibility to someone who has marketing expert to support me in that way? But you as the leader, I realize you need to be thinking about, okay, new markets potentially. You have to be thinking about, overall building the culture that you want to be fostering within your community, and also playing to your strengths. What is your highest value as you're working in this organization, and really thinking about that from a strategic standpoint as well. The team is so necessary, and that's where we get into delegating, really identifying people that align first and foremost with your core values, and then subsequently inviting them to be part of this epic journey that you're embarking on. And as a leader as well, there are things you may want to do it all. Oprah Winfrey says you may want it all, but you just can't have it all at once, And so making a decision, what do we do today? What do we do tomorrow? What do we do 5 years down the road? And then the last one is, what do we never do? What is not aligned with our vision and values, and deciding to walk away from that. And with that, I want to just pass it over to Shawna, but, giving you all, we've given you some tools that you can use as you're thinking about, moving your business forward, as well as some of the mindset that is also required around your business model to grow and scale.
Chris, I'm just gonna have you go through the clicks so that we don't have to switch if that's cool. All right, awesome. Yeah, no, so as always, Chris Beth, mint, love it. And Chris Beth really kind of starts you at that journey where, when you're thinking about your business, all the foundational elements that are kind of created that you need to have on board before you start talking to somebody like me, it's very key. Because I tell people all the time, technology is a tool. Sometimes I hear, oh, I'm starting a business, I need a website and I need an app. And I go, why? What for? Who are you reaching? What are you trying to do? Because what a lot of people don't realize is that the internet is fast. The app store is fast, and they cost money to do. These are only tools that can help you on your success and on your future and what you're trying to achieve, but it does not work if you don't have the right tools at the right time for what you're trying to do. So it is important that when you're coming to get technology, you have an understanding of what your objectives are, how you're going to reach your customers, what are you trying to achieve with these goals, and then how can we use technology to do that? That's really how we merge the two worlds of business and technology. Okay, next slide. Right, so technology, as I said, is a tool, and it can be a tool that can be a game changer in your world because it can help tie into so many of the things that you're doing. As Chris Beth was saying, with what you're trying to achieve, how you're going to do it. Process is a big part of that. And when we say by process is, what are the steps it takes to achieve that thing? You want to bring in, you're doing marketing. You have to have a process. Who are you reaching? How are you getting to them? When they see your ad or they see your website, what is the process from getting them interested in what you do to getting them to purchase a tool or call you or make an appointment about a service that you offer, right? So process development is a sequence of events to get from one stage to the other. Technology is a great help in that, where if you define processes, technology can help to automate a lot of those processes, simplify, make it easier, get you out of the weeds of having to do every step in a process to do that. So making sure that you're able to go through the holistic view of a process development, technology can be key. You have systems like a customer relationship management tool that can go from, hey, this person went on your website, they visited your page 4 times this time, they clicked on this item. You're able to then use that to figure out, okay, what interests, what steps do those users take? How can I simplify or make it easier for them to take the next step in terms of purchasing, in terms of calling me? So that's a big piece. Communication, of course, is another, right? How do we make sure we're communicating not only with our customers, but internally as well? What are we tracking in terms of our communication? What can we use and leverage in terms of technology? One of the big things that we sometimes do is emails, right? Not only is email a technology on its own, but you have a lot of technology within email where if you're connected to something like a CRM, you're able to see how many times this person has emailed you, what are they usually emailing about, what they're interested in, how can I leverage this blog that I have to get this person purchasing more. So you're able to not only communicate using technology, track communication, figure out how those communications can lead you to bigger success and more money. The changing landscape of work. COVID has completely changed how a lot of us work. Some of us are working fully remote. Some of us will probably never have a physical office space. And making sure that technology can keep up with the changing environment. How are you still making connections with customers? That's probably one of the biggest things I hear a lot of companies come to me with, where they miss that connection they used to have in person, and it's not the same. I completely agree, but there's ways to leverage technology to be able to say, yes, you may not have that same interaction, but now you can have it with people in Africa and Asia and in England without having to go on a flight for how many hours, right? So you now have a bigger landscape of who your customers are, how you can reach them, and how you do that. It's just how do you leverage it in a way that actually takes advantage of now that whole worldview that you may have had, which would have been harder to get without the changing landscapes that we're in. And then Beth talked a lot about business growth and development, so I won't go too much into that. But yes, just aligning your 5, 10-year, 20-year goals using technology to tie into what you're trying to achieve. And research. I tell people all the time, you have to have research, right? Because sometimes I hear people and they go, I have this problem. I know it's a need because I have this need. But is it a need that you have, or is it a need that 100 people have or 1,000 people have, right? And making sure that it's not just you and you're creating something for you to solve a problem you alone have, because it's very expensive to solve a problem you alone have using technology. But if you're solving a problem that thousands of people or even 100 people who are willing to pay for it have, that is something that we can work with. Next slide. Right. Starting right is really what it's about. So Beth is spot on. You start with the business, you start with your canvas, you're starting with the business plan, absolutely. But it's the same thing around your technology plan. We sometimes forget that you need a plan for technology too. People think, oh, I've made a business plan, give me tech. You have to have a technology plan. You have to tie the technologies you need with the plans that you're trying to achieve to be able to come up with what is that cost. Right? What are your goals? What are your values? I tell people all the time, if you know you will always be one person, your whole goal in the next 5, 10 years is it's just me. I don't need anybody else. I just want to have 20 customers and that's all I want to do. What I'm going to propose to you is very different than somebody who comes to me and goes, in 5 years, I want to be on a beach in Hawaii. I want my team taking care of anything. I want the money rolling in. So I need the technology to support that. The plans are completely different, right? So you have to know what your 5, 10 year, even 1 year plan even if you don't have 5 years, because some people get sweaty when I tell them 5 years. I'm like, no problem. What are your plans 6 months from now, 3 months from now? And then we try to make sure that your technology build ties to your business plan, right? And delegating. I tell people all the time, Chris Beth and I have both been there where we're like, we're broke. We have to do everything ourselves, forgetting that us taking time away from strategically planning a business and doing every single thing is actually money, right? The time value of money, the fact that you are now doing something that you should be doing something else is costing you. So sometimes I hear people go, oh, it's okay, I'll do it myself. I'm like, let's think about this. You're going to spend time building the website yourself. You're going to have to learn to build the website. You're going to have to learn to pick the right tools. You're going to have to design. How long do you think that's going to take you versus spending some money with a designer who can build your branding, build your search engine optimization, integrate with all the tools you need, and you can focus on all the strategic things to make sure that whatever is built aligns with your goals. So sometimes we think, oh, we don't got the money, I'll just do it myself. It is costing you money. Don't ever think that it's not, right? And technology helps you invest and raise capital. What I find a lot of people sometimes think is that, or come to me, is when they're looking for investments. Because investors want to see dollars, they want to see trends, they want to see reports. If you go and pitch in front of an investor and they say they're interested in, working for your company, they need to see what you said in your pitch actually aligns with what's happening. So they want to see what's the traffic on your website. How many customers do you have in your pipeline? How many have gone from leads to customers? How long is that pipeline taking you? And if you don't have a technology, that's a lot for you to be manually tracking and being able to prove to an investor that these are legitimate numbers. So using technology to either raise capital through investment, raise capital through the banks, grants, all of that, you need to have your numbers, which technology can help to provide for you. Growing strong. As I keep saying, most of us here are here to build businesses, to really figure out how we can solve a need, how we can grow our business into something. You have to make sure that you are, as your business change, as your objectives change, as your world changes around you, that the technology is also changing with you, right? So if your business completely shifts, a lot of companies, the biggest companies I've been working with recently is they had a storefront before COVID. Their storefront stopped making money. That's a huge shift, right? They now have to move from a storefront to an online store in months, or else they're not making money, right? How we had to do that was drastically working through who are their customers, what they're doing, how we're going to move it, how we're going to get those customers who love to go in the store to purchase their items and purchase it online. How do we make that an online experience close to what they're used to? So you have to always remember, if your business change, you have to reevaluate, do you need your technology to change as well? And you're thinking big, right? You want to be a Fortune 500 company? Sure. We need to make sure your technology is scalable, right? Your technology that you have today may not be able to sustain when you have 1,000 people, right? But the technology you have today should easily transfer to another technology that will be able to get you to 1,000 people. If you have to be starting from scratch each step of the way, that's money, time that you've now lost to do that, right? You as the owner need to stay strategic and help to plan out your business and your technology to be able to do that. And picking the right technology partners. I have a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I found this site online where they have a developer who says, I'll give you an app for $500. And I say, I never force anybody not to, I say, you know your options, but make sure you know what you're paying for. Because I've had a lot of people who came, somebody gave me a website for $500, but I need to completely redo it. And I'm like, you didn't have to spend that $500. We could have done this for you and you'd have been happy with that work and you'd have been able to scale and grow. So making sure you're picking not only the technology, but the right technology partners to help you implement is key and fundamental for your success. Yeah, I like to suggest technology because a lot of people like to ask that question: how much things cost, what technologies do you suggest, and where to go, right? It depends on what you are trying to do and what technologies you're doing. So everything I mentioned here, if I'm talking to you one-on-one and as I learn your business, I may completely shift with what I suggest, what I recommend, because there's many things that go into my recommendation, right? So lead conversions, right? So you want to start with how are you first touching your customer? So social media is, of course, a key fundamental feature, but which social media depends on who your customer are, your age, what their interests are, and what social they're using, right? So it can be the vast group. Some people like to do all of them. You don't necessarily have to do all of them. You can do selective ones based on the customers you're trying to achieve, you're trying to hit, or you may have to shift what your messaging is from media to media, depending, right? Your website application, again, totally dependent on what you're trying to do, and how much customization, how much integrations you need, because sometimes people like to go, oh, this one was dirt cheap. It does the bare bones. And then I'm like, but can it integrate with this tool that you're using? Because now you're going to have to move things manually from this tool to this tool. That's money every time you have to do that, versus we could have chosen another tool that can do all of, connect to your Stripe and connect to your your quoting system and be able to do all the automations you need to, from your customer sign up all the way to paying for what you're doing as well, right? Communication, key. How do you track your communication? What types of communication you're having externally, internally? So, the office suites, of course, Slack for quick communication, Zoom, we're on Zoom right now. So it really depends on the types of communication that you're looking for as well. I'm a big fan of the customer relationship management tool, and Beth can tell you, I'm always an advocate for it. I think it's sometimes one of the last tools we think to use, but to me, it's one of the most critical tools because it ties all your worlds together and figuring out how to do that. Your financial tracking, your legal and security is key now. Sometimes people are afraid of technology because they think of hacking, but it's also the other. When people don't have a lot of technology, they usually don't have a lot of security in terms of how are they tracking their customers, their payments, their world. Technology can help to secure that, but you have to make sure that your technology is also secure. So making sure that you think of legal security when you're thinking about your passwords, when you're thinking about tracking your customer information, making sure that whatever tools you're using is going to be important for that. Project management, customer support. Customer support, I'm going to call out as well, because sometimes people think I just need the website up, I just need the app up. But what happens when there's a problem? What happens when your customer has questions and inquiries? Do you have people who can answer them, support, work through that as quickly as possible? And one of the big things I want to call out is without support, sometimes technology can come up to be a lot of money. So programs like this are so great to help you to get technology, get you partners without you having to come out of pocket. And you also want to connect to things like accelerators and incubators. They get a lot of credits for free. So you can get them for discounted or at great reduced prices as well. All right. Yep. Beth, I'll throw that to you now. You're on mute.
The joys. The joys of technology. Just as we begin wrapping up, we want to leave some time for Q&A, but this is just to let you know some of the services that we offer. We help with our business consulting team in various spectrums, looking at business management, supporting you with your business plans, grant writing, marketing support, and technology. And all of that information can be found on our website, and definitely being able to support you in various ways as well. And if we don't know, we oftentimes refer to our other partners in the ecosystem. And we just want to say thank you on behalf of the E4X Modify team, and here's our contact information, and you can reach us there. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I see that there, Chris. I see some questions in the chat as well. Sorry, go ahead, Kimberly. Go ahead.
I'm just read the questions if you want, but if you want to take them over, Shauna, no problem.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Okay. I'll let you do it.
All right. I took so many notes. I'm really excited to see what's in chat. I know that there was someone asked, what was the average cost for a website? Do you have any feedback on that?
Yes, so it depends on, so there's a few types of websites you'd like to say. There is the landing page. I always say landing page is a good one to start, where you just are telling people what your services are. You're not necessarily accepting payment there. So that could be a couple hundred, right? Like 300, $500. Like it's really a one pager, pretty much expressing your site. Then you have a standard website, which is usually about 5 pages. Again, it depends on how customized you want that. If you want customized SEO, branding, works, you're looking at about, 15 to 2,000 I saw was an estimate there. And I agree with that number as well. If you're getting into what we call an e-commerce, where you're having your whole store. So you're having all your store and your items and everything, all the payment integration and all of that, that's usually a more robust site. So you're looking more into like the ranges of 6,000 to 10,000 for an e-commerce site. You do a hybrid app for like the 10 to 20,000, where you not only have the e-commerce site, but you have an app on phones as well, where you can have somebody download the app and buy things as well. So you can have the different ranges depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Wonderful.
I'm a huge advocate of the landing pages. Many people oftentimes when they're starting out, it's like, I want this mega website. And I'm like, let's bring you some money. You know, get your digital footprint started. And the power of a landing page, it gives you the opportunity to speak to that customer. And going back to where we started, you identify the problem that customer have. And then you're saying, hey, business owner that's looking for support, we exist to help you with X, right? So for us, the team here, it's not just about, taking the money, billing you high. We want to see results, right? We're very results oriented. Shauna and I
like to win. We like to win.
Yes.
So when you're coming to us, we will always try to get you the things that we can either get you as low cost as possible, that will give you the results you need and still provide you the efficiency. I do not want to give somebody a quote of a high number, one, if they're not making money yet, and I don't think they're going to get the returns they're going to get, right? So I really try to tie the right technology to the right person at that time. Yep, that's key.
Good. So we do have another question. It's, what's the approximate cost for an initial consultation? Seems like most people don't realize the need for the service that was described throughout your presentation.
Yeah,
sure.
So
go ahead, Chris. I'll let you go first.
And typically people talk to myself or my team, and that is free. We offer a free 30-minute consult. That just gives me an opportunity to say, okay, trying to understand again the fundamentals. Who are you serving? What problems do you have? What problems are you trying to solve for your customer? And then based on that, really triaging to, Shauna is a member, a teammate as well at E4X, and so being able to then point you to the directions of the various experts on the team to help you. So it's 30 minutes, free consult to get a chance to know you and see if we can help in any ways.
Absolutely. I don't think you should ever be paying for an initial consultation, because it's important for you to I tell people all the time, I look at consultation the same way I look at interviews. It's as much about you liking me and thinking that I can deliver what you're doing, as much as me figuring out if I can deliver what you're doing, right? So I always think that 30 minutes can help to provide that information. So making sure that you both are connecting what you're trying to achieve and the work you're doing. Like Chris Beth said, we give 30 minutes away for free. And you'd be surprised how much you learn in that 30 minutes. I usually like to draft what I think that world will be after that, and then be able to provide that to a user so that they know where we're going or what we're doing, whether they go with us or not. I think it's important for them to have those understandings leaving the meeting.
Wonderful. Now, I hope you ladies, Chris Beth and Shauna K, don't have a problem dropping your information in chat. Looks like Leon's ready to connect and move forward. You definitely want to connect with Leon. Also, Shauna, I had a question. You made a statement which I think was outstanding. You said that you want to solve a problem that hundreds, if not thousands of people have. And the key phrase you said is, and are willing to pay for it. And are willing to pay for it. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that testing goes when you have an idea that people have a problem with, but you don't really know if they're going to pay for it, which seems to be important?
Absolutely. So I tell people you want to, and Chris Beth said this, ideation is key when you're thinking through and you're working through what you want to do. But I live in the world of prototype. And what that means is we're not going to build the big bang of what you're trying to do. We're going to build just enough for the people who said, I'm interested and I want to do it, to actually start to see what it does, how it works, how much would they pay, how would they pay, so that you can understand this now. I thought people were going to pay $100, people are going to pay $50. So maybe even though people were excited for it, they're only willing to pay for portions of this, or they're willing to work through these pieces, but this is not something they want to pay for. You have to get it in the hands of people. How do you get it in the hands of people? There's multiple ways to do that. Sometimes I do as bare bones as we're showing you images. When you click here, this happens. When you click here, this happens, submit. Or what we call just a prototype, where it's the app is working and it's a release one, but it's a small condensed version. So we're testing it across the different users you think will pay for it, but you don't actually charge them the first amount. Usually start with a group of like maybe 20 people, and you're getting feedback. What do I like? What don't I like? How much would I pay? You know, would you do it on a subscription? Because another key thing is, would the person pay for it one time, or would they rather pay for it, you know, $5 a month forever, right? Understanding your business model as well as your financial model, and really being able to test it out, because until you have it in people's hands, they can tell you things all day, every day. So that's a big part of what we do.
Wonderful, thank you.
One thing,
okay, Chris, yes.
And I see we have 53 people on here. One of the biggest things that's reliant on what Shauna just described is research. And the invitation is, you have to know who you're serving. You have to know those numbers. You have to know their buying habits. So going back to that, who is it for, right, is so key. And so I just wanted to tie that into, we're building a prototype, and you know, before we go tell you the app is going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, let's get that minimal viable product using a market research methodology to help you really validate the process by which you're building.
Another big key to that, and Chris Beth knows this as well, is that sometimes when you don't have that, one of the key we found out recently with somebody who came to us is they had built a prototype before coming to us, but the prototype was Android, but their customers were mainly Apple, right? And so making sure you spend time understanding that. And that's where Chris Beth and the team really comes in to say, are you sure this is your customer? Let's try it. Let's ask your customers. And Chris Beth's team also are able to help you to get people who can prototype your app as well, right? So from all those pieces and those fundamentals, it's important to understand those key metrics.
Wonderful. It looks like someone wanted to know the 4 Ds of leadership. I'm putting those in chat right now because I wrote them down.
Oh, look at you.
Awesome.
So they are all posted in chat.
Yeah, and I can honestly say that, you know, those 5 Ds have definitely been helpful and grounding for me. I go, oh my goodness, I want to do it all at once. Remember, we can't do it all at once, all at the same time, right? We can have it all, but we can't just have it all at once. So really, you know, deciding on making some decisions. That's what it comes down to every single day as leaders. What are we doing to move the ship forward? And, you know, Shauna talked about people complaining about paying. We're visionaries, people. Go sell that stuff. You know what I mean? You have the ability to tell your story, bring the value to the marketplace, and transact the value. So decide what you're gonna do to drive the ship, delegate some tasks. Then you wanna delay things that aren't ready here and now, and dump some stuff. So get rid of things that aren't aligned with your vision and value.
Gotcha. Now, Chris Beth, you did share with us an amazing tool, which was the Business Canvas template. We've asked, can you share that with us? Can we get access to it?
Yes, I could definitely send that to you, and perhaps we could share it with the folks afterwards.
Perfect.
Yes, yeah, I can definitely.
Excellent. Excellent. There's been a request to add Chris, Beth, and Shauna K on LinkedIn. I definitely would advise that because they've given us some great tools for us to not only start our business, but to make sure that we're doing it on the right track. They've made some very, very significant points that a lot of us miss, especially on the technology piece. We don't tend to think that technology, one, keeps us safe. If you're out there writing things down on paper, you're not safe. You are not safe at all. Not at all. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up?
One thing I wanted to just add as well in terms of, looking at your business, we talk about starting right and growing strong. We're not talking about perfection here, people. We are talking about, setting up frameworks and using tools like the design thinking process, the business model canvas, really thinking about your business from that iteration, prototyping, going through the failures, learning through this journey, and managing your costs. Do not spend thousands of dollars if you don't know where you're going. And one of the benefits, I think, working with our team here at E4X, we give you the knowledge. Once you have that consultation, as Shauna says, from a technical perspective, we share, we're givers here, and really saying, you need to do, we recommend that you do X, Y, Z, it's yours. You can decide where you go with it from there, but realizing sometimes when you're going in front of technical people, they quote you the highest thing. They say you need these bells and whistles without grounding you in the principle of what is the problem or need or desire that you're solving for, who has it, and how are they building, how are you going to be building a journey, a process to help them solve that issue ultimately.
Or worse, they bill you the smallest amount and then any change, addition, upgrade, all of a sudden you have a bill that you were not expecting, right? So also look for the opposite where, oh, it's dirt cheap. They're going to build me a full app for $1,000. When I heard that, I'm like, girl, if that is legit, that's amazing. But you have to be diligent. You have to be careful what all of these things mean. Yep.
Excellent, ladies. We have I think it's Dion. She has a question. We're going to go ahead and take your question, and then we will wrap it up for today. Don't forget that you can also watch this video. The video will be posted in a couple of days, so don't feel like you've missed out. Dion, go ahead with your question.
Hi. So I own a t-shirt company, basically, and we do tops. So we do tops that help you show up, show out, and speak truth to power. That's basically what my book, I guess, value proposition is. So I'm also like a Shopify expert and partner. Sorry, I'm just this late. I'm also a Shopify expert and partner, so I know how to build my own Shopify. I used to have a different brand years ago that really did well. The trouble is, the nut I'm having a hard time cracking now is basically just getting seen on social media. I'm not trying to be the person that's constantly on like posting buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. But I'm finding there's a really hard path when you're selling clothing, you know what I mean? If you're not going to be the one yourself getting in front of the screen, like taking the pictures of yourself in the clothing, you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering if there's any ideas that you have for me about what I might be able to do to kind of expand my reach that way. We're doing pretty well in sales without having a huge social media presence, but I want to do better.
Yeah, I could start, and then Shauna, you can go from there. One of the things that we oftentimes see and hear a lot of is this exact problem or challenge that you're experiencing. And what we say is, let's go through your customer list. I want to know who has bought from you in the past, right? And that, by looking at it from that vantage point, we get to see some trends. We could clearly articulate, okay, these types of people are buying our clothing, and figuring out ways in which we then build a stronger conversation with them, right? You have core people, you perhaps have repeat buyers. Can we turn those folks into brand ambassadors to start with, right? And so that, I mean, something very simple, you probably already started doing that. Yeah, oh my goodness. So look at that. You have an army, a tribe already. So now we talk about and I can go back to the business model canvas, but that section where it talks about the channel. So how are you communicating with them? But the channel, the box above that was customer relationship. So really focusing then, are we building out internal email campaigns to support them getting that awareness of the brand, really looking at going deeper in the relationship with the ones that we already have, and then using them to leverage out as well. And if you're not the face of the brand, figuring out who can we put in front to get to tell the story of your brand, right? So those would be some of my initial thoughts for you. And easy things you can do right now, right? Like start that email, you know, invite people to a round table.
You're a brand ambassador, you get this, and this is what we're gonna give you, whatever. And to Chris Beth's point, I love the brand ambassador idea. All day, every day, somebody who can speak to their experiences of working with you will always attract. So really figuring out who are those users, those personas that really hit, and those are who you're going to target. And then you're working with getting, you don't have to do all of that work, right? So you're hiring students using things like the Career Ready program, where you can get up to 75% of their the cost you're paying them to work and do that for you. And then you're just guiding what they're doing in terms of the strategic initiative. So it's really about doing things like that, I think would be helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies. We have come to the end of our time today. Thank you for sharing some valuable information.
Hello.
I think we had a hand up.
Yeah, it's just a quick compliment I wanted to, you know, to make. I'm just so pleased to see that you guys are using the impact gaps. It's business model, right? It was first introduced to me last year, but through the social enterprise course. And I thought, when I looked at it, I thought it was developed by somebody from one of the universities. I can't remember clearly here. And when I look at it, I thought, because normally when you do business courses, you do contingency plan, which is part of your business plan. But I think it provides a perfect opportunity to evaluate from a broader concept, how to, you know, really look at these contingencies. And when I looked at it, I thought, but that can be applied for businesses, for-profit business and not-for-profit businesses. So I'm just so happy and pleased that you guys are using it. Yeah.
Just wanted to. And it is one tool, right? We use the business model canvas in tandem with, you know, doing a SWOT. So it's beyond like what's happening, looking at the environmental. So it is truly a holistic conversation. As I said, we start with the business model canvas too, but we move you to that business plan. And if you look at a business plan, mitigating risk is huge, right? And so we go into those elements as we're working with our clients as well. So thank you so much, Bertha, for if you've never used the tool, please check it out, and I will make sure I send a version so that everyone can get access to it.
Wonderful. Before we wrap up, I'm going to allow our treasurer, Michael, to speak to us about BBPA real quickly. You're on mute, Michael.
Thanks. I really just wanted to say thanks to the two charming ladies for making the presentation. I always like to remind folks who come on a Thursday to the Bates program is what we're doing here is exposing the applicants that require services from the Bates to see firsthand the resources that we'll be making available for them. And so as you make your presentations, folks will now resonate that if I need to have my online presence, who am I going to work with, and what is the quality of work I'm going to get? This is kind of what it's designed to do. So thank you, Chris, and thanks to Shauna K. I'm not a tech guy. I just listen, and so I would just bring in and say, work your magic. At the end of the day, I'm good. But on behalf of the BBPA, it's always a pleasure to come on board and to listen to the program providers and to see some of the questions that they're asked. Last night, the committee, we call it the Business Development Committee, met for the first 3 hours to go through the first 100 applicants that we have to take them to the next stage. And so the next stage is where we'll be reaching out to you folks to provide the services for those who need that sort of online presence and all the things that come with it. And in another couple of days, we're going to do the remaining 215 applicants. And so by the end of August, we will be current. So when folks make their application on a Monday, it will go through 2 or 3 business days. I will get an assessor out to them. Another 2 or 3 business days, we'll get someone like you to help them. So thanks again on behalf of the BBP, and thanks for your presentation. Excellent.
Thank you everyone again for attending. We will see you next week.
Bye.